Welcome to the Super Friends podcast, where we talk about comics, superheroes, and all things related and in between. I'm Brody.
And I'm Brian, and today we're going to be talking about the box office success, because it was a success, because it's always going to be a success, The Batman.
Yes. Repping it.
Repping it. Oh, dude, I'm not wearing, I'm wearing Superman like usual.
Hey.
Okay.
That's
In all fairness, I always wear Superman, so.
Yeah, and I usually wear Flash. But today I saw this shirt in my closet, and I was like, I know we're talking about that. I have this shirt, and then I have a black and white one drawn by Jim Lee of him just standing there.
That's hype. That's hype.
It is pretty hype. It's pretty cool. It's like white, and then it has red letters underneath of it, so it's all black and white until the red letters.
That is.
Chef kiss. Amazing.
That's hype. That's hype beast.
Alrighty. So, some of you might be wondering, we've done this a few times. For those of you that are just listening to the podcast version, the last 3 episodes, this episode, the one with Tyler and the one with Mia, we've all done video recordings. We think it's fun to be able to see each other and bounce our reactions off of each other, and also so you guys can see it. And so, Brian and I were talking, and we think it would be fun to be able to have, of course, our podcast side, but also to be able to for those of you that don't know, we also put up the episodes on our YouTube channel, which we can put a link in that in our Instagram page and stuff, so that you can be able to access that. But we're going to try to put these video portions up, where you can actually see us up on that YouTube page, and I'll be putting in like little clips of what we talk about over what we're talking about. So you'll still be able to hear us, but you won't have to look at our faces the entire time. Because I know sometimes you want to see what we're talking about instead of just look at us, because I know we don't look the best. Brian's definitely got it going on. But
Yeah.
I know you don't want to stare at my face all day. So we're going to try to do that. Let us know if you guys like that idea. We'll try it for a few videos, and if we get good feedback, if we get bad feedback, if we don't get any feedback, either way, we'll just go. We'll play it by ear. My wife says we'll play it by year, which doesn't make sense, but
I think I heard that in a movie once.
She always thought that's what it was, and we had this like huge disagreement. I was like, no, it's play it by ear, and she's like, no, it's play it by year.
Whatever it is, we're playing it by that thing.
All right, Brian, enough of the commentary on the actual podcast. What are we even talking about today? I mentioned it earlier with our shirt and stuff, but
yeah, we're talking about the newest Batman movie, The Batman, starring Robert Pattinson and Colin Farrell, and I was gonna say Alfred Molina, and that is not who's in it. That's not it.
No, it's
Andy Serkis.
Andy Serkis is in it. Mm-hmm.
He's playing Alfred. That's why I was gonna say Alfred Molina, but that's not right.
No, Alfred Molina. That's like a few weeks ago with Doc Ock when we did our Raimi episode.
My life. No, but we're talking about that wonderful movie that I gotta look at my papers. I think it won an Oscar for something. I think it's an Academy Award winner.
Do you want me to look?
Check it real quick.
What did the Batman win at the Oscars?
Because I know it was nominated for a couple things. Like, it was nominated for, like, I think makeup, because I think it should have won that, but The Whale won that.
Best makeup and hairstyling, best sound, and best visual effects.
Good. It should have won everything. No, okay, but it was a fantastic movie. One of the best DC entertainment that's been put out, in recent years. It's just fantastic. It's just great.
It's amazing. I remember going to watch it in the theater, and I was like, this is like, I'm actually really enjoying this. My wife, however, she fell asleep for 45 minutes and then was very, very confused when she woke back up. I would be too.
It's like a 3-hour movie. If you fall asleep, you're going to miss a lot.
And I was like, don't ask me questions. Nah.
Wait till after.
If you fell asleep, that's on you. I'm not. And I'm going to go get a Funko Pop off my shelf. I have the Riddler Funko Pop.
Oh, dude, no way.
Yeah. Okay. So, talk about your favorite part of the Batman, and then I will be right back. It's just like, you just got to hop around the desk.
I will talk about my favorite part. I'm going to turn my screen back on so I can see the outline. I really liked, I really liked a lot of scenes with the Penguin. Like pretty much all the scenes he was in because it was so cool to see, especially Colin Farrell not look like himself at all. Like because he plays the Penguin, and you can't tell it's him at all. So I can.
Oh yeah.
But I also love like watching Bruce. That's dope. That's sick. That's pretty cool.
I know.
But
I'm a son.
I like seeing whenever Batman, well, Bruce Wayne, when he interacted with John Turturro's Carmine Falcone.
Mm-hmm.
I really like that scene where he, after Alfred almost dies, he goes and confronts him. No, it's before Alfred died. No, it's after Alfred almost dies. Then he confronts like Falcone in the Iceberg Lounge, and they talk. And I like how and then earlier when they talk to each other. But I just like when they have that conversation because we've seen Batman interact with Falcone in other movies and comics, and we've seen Batman confront with a lot of his villains. But it was different when Bruce was like vulnerable. And went to go talk to Falcone, and not as Batman. He didn't beat his fight his way and talk to the Penguin. He just walked in, and asked to talk to Falcone, and then Penguin. What was funny is Penguin was almost like happy to see him. He goes like, "What, Bruce Wayne? No way!" I'm like, almost happy to see him.
Way.
But like, it was. I love that scene because like Bruce is so vulnerable, and obviously Falcone's lies didn't work because then he's like, Alfred, why didn't you tell me? And Alfred goes, Carmine lied to you, and he goes, wait, what?
No way. You're.
Spoiler alert. You know, he's a bad guy.
The bad guy is the bad guy.
Still, it was. I love that scene where they talk to each other, and you can see Carmine's lying to him, and he's listening because he's so vulnerable, and you see Batman get tricked, and it's also just like John Turturro as Falcone because I've seen him play such weird characters in Oh Brother Where Art Thou and Transformers. He plays such oddball characters, but then he's like menacing as Falcone. It's like
menacing.
So different.
So menacing. Like the scene with Selina when he's like pressing down on her windpipe with the
trying to kill her.
It's with the billiard stick, right? With the pool stick. Yeah. And he's just like, sorry, honey, like I just gotta do this. Like this ain't nothing against you. Like
and he's just like, so calm while he's killing someone.
Yeah, and you're like, wow.
Like, holy beans, this guy's killing someone. He's just like it's an everyday thing. And it's like
yeah. What? So that goes into one of my favorite parts of the Batman is definitely would have to be I think the symbolism of the 3 times he goes to the Iceberg Lounge are amazing. The first time he beats his way in, was freaking Batman. He just shows up and is like, and then
he's going to town.
Then Oz is like, whoa, you don't need to get all,
That's so great.
Cool it down, man. And amazing. The second time, like we said, he goes in like as Bruce Wayne, like, what, like, my parents died, blah blah blah. He's like, he's being like vulnerable, and and then the third time he goes in, he sneaks in, and then he turns the lights out and goes all Batman on him after that. So it's like it's really cool to see like the 3 versions of Bruce, like the 3 things in his arsenal is like Bruce has got like he's got this brute strength. He's got his Bruce persona, which I think they're gonna work on more. And then he's got like just his ninja, basically, like he's the master of the shadows,
right?
And stuff.
He's like snuck in and out. I do like how obviously he could have done it the whole time, but waited till he needed to.
Yeah, and had more impact on the story too.
Yeah, I also like when just the not imagery, but like visual effects, whatever you want to call it, when he has like the it's not a torch, the flare, and he's leading them through the water. It was such a great scene.
Like he's leading the people,
and like people finally almost like trust the Batman, and like oh, he's actually a good guy, and like people then like earlier when he's talking like his inner dialogue, and he's like he's a creature of the night, he's pure vengeance, right? But then the end of the movie when he helps get that lady onto the stretcher and she like is holding on to him,
Yeah.
After he puts her down so they can airlift her out, and she's like hold on.
She's to something. Yeah. She sees him now as something to cling on to. That's like safety. Like if I keep holding on to him, like I'll be safe.
He's like a symbol of something that can be a symbol for good. Like a symbol for good. He's like he can be more than just an instrument of death. Okay, not death, but like something that
Vengeance,
can just
literally though,
rock
yeah.
people.
And it's like the theme throughout the entire movie is amazing. That like you have this like second year Batman just starting out. He thinks like, oh my job is like vengeance. Like I just take crime out on the streets. I just beat people to a pulp, and that inspires our lovely friend the Riddler, who thinks he's doing the exact same thing. He's like, yo, we took him down together, and Batman's like, oh,
I was like, no, we didn't.
that did not go as planned. Like,
And I like how Riddler. You see how smart he is because Batman goes right into his plan. He
uh-huh.
wanted Carmine to be brought out of the lounge, and it worked. Like Batman's like, oh man, I've been played. I do like how Bruce almost thinks that he's figured out because he says Bruce Wayne. He goes, what? And he goes, we almost got him. And he goes, like you can almost see the subtle relief when he's okay, he doesn't know when Batman's like, okay, he doesn't know who I am because he says Bruce Wayne like twice, and it's like, dude, I was freaking out that point in the movie. I was like,
Wayne.
he knows who he is. He knows who he is.
I was like,
panicking. But I do like
literally
the fact that,
insane.
like, okay, like I thought it was funny, like when me and Tyler are watching, and they're talking about the Maroni case is the biggest case ever, and then you see at the end of the movie, Joker's already in jail too. They've already captured the Joker. I'm sitting here and he goes, okay, they've already been working on organized crime. He and Batman are like a team now. They've already taken out Maroni. Joker's in jail. So what you're telling me is the prequel of this movie could have just been like The Dark Knight. That's literally my thought. I was like, wait a second. And Tyler then talked about it afterwards, like, it's The Dark Knight. That was the whole. That was what just happened.
Yeah.
But obviously not. Obviously, but still, it was crazy. The like how like you can see things connect. Because we talked about the Long Halloween. We talked about how like The Dark Knight and the Batman, both were. That was the inspiration behind those movies. Was the Batman
very heavy? Yeah. Yeah.
I also like the Riddler. There's such I love the when like I love that scene, that fight scene when he's taking out all the different Riddlers. That was so good, epic. And then when he stabbed himself with like the whatever Venom. It was, I swear it was Venom.
We don't know if it's Venom.
I swear it's Venom that he stabbed himself with to give himself like the energy, and he goes like full on crazy and starts beating the guy up. I was like, ah! And he's like, because he goes full psycho, and it's like, dude, it was Venom. It was Venom. I swear it was like green too. There was green liquid. He's like, and it was like, oh,
yeah, he flips it out, and then he has that little like spot in his suit that he flips open and like stabs himself with it.
It's like the one spot he like opened it up so like there's a space he can. I just was like, and then like Catwoman has to calm him down. She's like, whoa, chill.
And Zoe Kravitz as Catwoman. Amazing.
So good.
Like, she played a very year one Frank Miller year one Catwoman. Like, it was amazing.
It was also, what's his name? Jeffrey Wright as Commissioner Gordon. I love that. They had such good like on-screen chemistry together. He played such a good Gordon.
I love when they're in the precinct and he's like, "You're gonna hit me, and then you're gonna take my keys." And then later he's like, "Wow, I thought you were gonna pull your punches," and he's like, "I was."
Yeah, seriously. I love the fact that he's like all the police now turning against the Batman, right? And he goes, "Give me a second with this guy. I got it." And then they all leave and Batman goes, "So you're gonna turn on me too?" And like he like gets in his face a little bit so people can see he's mad. And then he goes, "We gotta get you out of here." And then he's like, I love Batman's confusion. What? And he's like, and yeah, like you said, he's like, "Hit me in the face and take my keys." And then punches him in the face and runs.
And then hits the bridge with his little wingsuit. He's flying in his little wingsuit, and then like hits the bridge. I'm like,
I didn't feel obviously, but I was like when he smacks it and then rolls, I was like, oh,
like that hurt. That hurt.
I had to have like, but then like right there, it felt very comic booky, where like all throughout the movie, him taking several like people shooting at him, and it felt very much like the comic books. Where no matter where they shot him, bullets just like flew him, bounced off, and nothing seemed to do any damage to him. And that felt very much like the comics, where no matter where you shoot Batman, he like his suit never really seems to like.
A lot of times they shoot at his chest, which is like the dumbest idea because like that's the reason like in multiple comics they've talked about how that's the reason the symbol's there for the biggest reason is because that's the most heavily armored part of his suit is like right there in the center. And so
Yeah.
he's gonna be able to take like point blank ranges from to the chest because like that's the most heavily armored part of his suit. Now like they mentioned this in the Dark Knight and it's also mentioned in the Arkham games. But like sometimes he needs that extra mobility, so you got to go in between like the cracks in the plates, like which makes knives effective, which worked for Joker. But like I mean, most of them are like these are the same people that would try shooting Superman, but like they're unloading just guns after gun in like the one spot that's like heavily armored.
Yeah,
and that's like the whole reason. Protected. Yeah.
I do like how you see that's why Joker in the Dark Knight, just, obviously sidetrack, why Joker uses knives, because I think he sees the fact that when he kicked him that one time and Batman seemed to be hurt, he's like, huh. But then, he's like, will it be effective against dogs? And he goes, Rottweilers or Chihuahuas? And he goes, should be fine against cats. It's my favorite line, too, because then, like, Catwoman shows up, and it's like,
in the next movie.
You're like, what? References. Also, there's Riddler, I love Riddler doing the intimidation videos, and he's like, if you are justice, and he has like this deep voice, and then like when they get into his lockdown, he goes, "What up, homies?" And he's like his normal voice, and it's like, wait, what?
He's like a normal guy who just has like a TikTok account,
It's exactly what it was, and he goes, "Thanks for all the subscription donations." And it was like,
I've really enjoyed talking with you and learning all about bomb detonators. It's like the most deadly wholesome like channel. He's like,
and it was
like, thanks so much. Like, our community, we've really been there for each other. Like, we've supported each other.
It was so weird to watch. And I was like, Riddler, what in the? But it was cool. It was cool to see like Riddler. He's like he is more like Batman than he thinks. He does put on this performance of a different persona, like then like Bruce acts like Batman, telling these to like Alfred, and he acts mask off. He'll talk differently, right? Whereas, Riddler will do the deep intimidation, deep voice, and almost go psycho on people in the middle of like a video when he's trying to, or when he's talking to someone, right? And then when he's talking with all of his subscribers, it's the same thing. His voice will change. He'll act different because he's like, oh, you guys are like my homies. You're helping me.
Yeah.
So you see there is some similarities between the two, which is crazy.
Yeah. And we talked about this. There's one more part of the movie I want to touch on before we go into like Dark Knight versus the Batman, because we touched on that a little bit. But and I think this alone should have won like a cinematography award for a shot. But after he crashes the Batmobile into Penguin's car, and then he's walking upside, you're like, he's a freaking bat. Like, he's hanging from the ceiling. And it's amazing because it's shot from like Oz's point of view because his car is flipped over. And so he sees him walking, and there's the flames behind him, and the awesome music, dun 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 dun, and you're like, all right, I'm getting chills just talking about it, which means like it's amazing in my book.
I love that shot. Like that was even when when the trailer got released for the first time, I was like, what the?
Like that's the money shot right there.
I remember talking with Tyler when the first trailer, and I was like, holy crap, he's gonna go to the Penguin for help. That was my first thought. What do you mean? I mean, he didn't, but technically he was trying to get his like. I also love the interrogation where he's like, "Oh my gosh, what is that?" And he's like, "Open your eyes!" And they're screaming at him like as he's like tied up. And he goes, "Look at it." And he goes, "Oh, what are you showing me that for?" I love that scene so much. And then you're El Rada Alada. El Rada. Yeah, there's something you don't know. It's law. It's law. I think they're like, I love that. And then he calls them world's greatest detectives, making fun of them.
World's greatest detective.
That is like one of Batman's nicknames, world's greatest detective, and he used that to like make fun of him. Like, oh, what a Penguin part.
Yeah, because they're going off you are El Rada Alada.
It was like, I remember. I think Tyler then came home one day and he goes, "Brian, type in at radalada.com," and I was like, "What? Just do it!" And I did it, and it was like then the riddle showed up, and I was like, and then like I remember like the riddle, and me and Tyler had to look up the riddle. We're like, okay, because we looked at the riddle, see if someone came up with an answer, and as soon and while I was typing it in Google, while I was cheating because I was so stumped, and we'd been on for like hours, so I was cheating a little bit. And Tyler, like, oh wait, Tyler, try this, and he types in an answer, and then it says, and then literally on the screen in like green, like the little green letters typed up, no cheating, and I was like, oh my gosh, it knows, and I gave up. We stopped trying to cheat after that. Because, like, obviously he doesn't know, but it felt very much like Batman and the Riddler. And I was like, dude, this is the Riddler. He can see me. And I was like, he's coming for us. It was so crazy. Yeah, I was like, he's coming. Oh, my gosh, he's right there. He's coming for me. It was so crazy. But I love they put so much effort into, like, everything
about the duct tape,
movie.
Brian. He's ready to shut you up.
He's coming. He has the tape. Oh, my gosh. Oh, my gosh. That reminds me. Thumb drive.
He like pulls it out. He's like, thumb drive.
I love just the nonchalant, thumb drive, and then Gordon's like, this guy is sick, and I'm like, sick and twisted, but that was kind of funny. Like
that was good.
That was a good one. Like that's disgusting, and he cut off a dead guy's thumb. But I mean, that was clever. I'll give you that.
That's humor where I was not expecting it.
Exactly, and that's like the good kind, because it's Batman, so it shouldn't be a funny movie, but it was like, oh, humor there.
Yeah. All right. I know you are a huge fan of The Dark Knight, Brian, and I am as well. But what do you think? Like The Dark Knight versus Batman, like.
Okay, so the Batman is so good, like it's just something else. It's like it's just like if it's on, I'm stop what I'm doing. I'm gonna watch the Batman.
Mm-hmm.
However, Christian Bale is my favorite iteration of Batman.
Okay.
And I do like several things in The Dark Knight. For example, I love Heath Ledger's Joker. I love that he never really gives up where he came from, but you can make your own assumptions about him. I like the explanation of Batman's suit, and then you even see the weakness be exposed by Joker.
Mm-hmm.
I love the fact that we even get to give the people of Gotham a chance on the two ferries, and they both decide not to blow up the other.
Uh-huh.
Especially if it was the prisoners, like the people on the normal civilians. They were like, "Oh, we should blow them up," but I don't really know.
Yeah.
No, don't have the stomach to do it. Whereas the big, massive, prisoner, he just grabbed it and threw it out the window because he's like, and he literally says, I'll do what you should have done 10 minutes ago. And he just throws out the window because he goes, if anyone's going to die, it should be us. And it's like, and I love Harvey Dent. I love how it's like, how him and Rachel's dynamic, how it's similar to in The Long Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And I love Christopher Nolan's, need for practical effects. Because Matt Reeves also is the same way, because they're, how they need to have practical effects, because I respect that so much. It's like they're neck and neck. They are just neck and neck for me. How they are just they're both fantastic iterations of Batman. But I'm always gonna give it to The Dark Knight.
Cool. Okay.
My long explanation.
Okay, I honestly would rather watch. Well, I think it depends because they're tied for me too. Like it's neck and neck. If I want to sit down for a Batman movie, I think I would be more likely to turn on The Dark Knight only because of time. Maybe I'm not ready to sit down and watch the whole 3 hours of the Batman. But maybe if I turn like you said, if it's on, maybe I'll stop what I'm doing and go watch it. But sometimes just the length. I think that's the thing. We mentioned this a while ago in our Zack Snyder episode. That's the thing with Zack Snyder's Justice League. I'm like, it was a good movie. I enjoyed watching it, but I don't find myself in a position sometimes
4 hours
to be able to just sit down and watch 4 hours of. And I have my own things about his musical interludes and some things that I feel like should have been cut out, but they weren't because he had free reign. And so I would rather just sit down and watch something else if I have that time,
Right.
But then again, I'm over here I'll watch 6 episodes of a 45-minute TV. But it feels different, okay?
It feels like You're right. It does feel different. Where it is like, okay, like I realized I could watch 6 episodes, 45-minute show, and I'm sitting there longer than I would have for the Batman. But it's because it's an episode and at 45 minutes, I don't feel like I'm sitting there as long.
Yeah. Because
However,
I don't feel like the Batman is long when you watch it, but I feel like there's so much that happens that you're constantly like involved, and so it's hard to like find a time to like get up or go and do something because it's like literally is a detective movie. Like there are subtle hints that if you miss like that hint, like you're gonna miss the fundamental part of what comes later.
And because of that, it's also great to watch like, and it's the same kind of with The Dark Knight. I catch different things every time I watch it.
Mm-hmm.
I see I'm like, wait, I didn't notice that before, or like, oh, I remember when I first saw that, and I'm like, oh, that plays in so well. Like they do, both movies do such a great job of putting things here and there where you can spot things, and you're like, wait a second, hold on, look at that, look at that, and you're like totally just mind blown by all these hints and references and different things like that. They're both so good at that, but it is like I don't necessarily have 3 hours.
Yeah.
But I'm also like being a huge like not only just comic book nerd obviously, but like movie nerd in general. I'm like 3 hours. It's a solid movie length. I like when directors are allowed to have basically like, oh, you can take 3 hours because I'm like good because you can fit in more of the story.
Yeah, I think a big problem is like this is the story you need to tell, and like this is how long you have to tell it.
Exactly.
Like that is a recipe for disaster because
hence
like
Justice League.
Yeah, plot points are getting cut out. Like, connective tissue is getting cut just for the sake of runtime.
I'd even say Batman vs Superman was the same thing.
Yeah.
Superman ended up actually looking like a bad guy, unless you watch the extended cut, and then you're like, oh, he wasn't. He was being played.
Now, which cut of Batman vs Superman? Because there's like 6 million.
Okay, so like the theatrical cut, right?
Then there's like the director's cut, and then there's like
the I was like, holy crap!
Cut.
Is Superman actually a bad guy? And then I watched like the actual, director's cut. And I was like, oh, he's not a bad guy. But the Batman had like 3 hours to tell a full, like comic book storyline, and it did it so well.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I just got I don't know if you got it, but I just got a 10-minute warning on our Zoom thing. So for our people that hopefully will watch this on YouTube, what we usually do is we try to end it before the timer ends on the meeting. We're not rich, so we don't have unlimited meeting time. But what we do is we'll try to end it before the video ends. But if we don't, then we'll just put up like a picture of our logo for the rest of the time, and then you'll just be able to hear the audio.
Which shouldn't be that long. We usually wrap it up.
Yeah, because we can wrap it up. We have two more points that I wanted to talk about, but I think I'm going to cut the maybe we can make a separate video about our ideas for a Batman sequel, the Batman sequel, because I think that could be a video in of itself.
It really could.
So one thing that I wanted to touch on, which I think is so important in this like modern era that we live in, is Batman the Brave and the Bold. We're going to have 2 Batman franchises. So how is Batman the Brave and the Bold going to be different, but still also be something that audiences want to go to? What do you think, Brian?
I think it's going to be different because the Batman is obviously a much darker toned movie. Mm-hmm. And I think the Batman is still going to be, I think Brave and the Bold is still going to be dark because it's Batman. But it's going to be some comic book fans like because Damian Wayne is going to play a huge part in it. And the only Robin we've ever seen on screen is Dick Grayson, and it was horribly done.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you watch Titans?
No, but I should.
There's parts of it that I'm like, yeah, I would recommend that to somebody. And then they're like, more so than not, I'm like, I don't want to recommend it to someone. There's other parts where like, I'm like, oh, it's like
it just isn't working.
Like his Nightwing suit looks amazing, but he doesn't get it to like the end of the second season. So be prepared for that. Yeah, no, I think Brave and the Bold is going to be, if they can do it correctly, is going to like stand apart from the Batman, because James Gunn is like, that's going to be an Elseworld story that's going to be happening in its own corner. Batman the Brave and the Bold can hopefully work with elements that the Batman is putting aside because they want to focus on this more grounded, realistic world.
Mm-hmm.
I want like a Batman that can like freaking fall from space and be like, yeah, I survived because I'm Batman.
Exactly.
And like they give you an explanation, but it's like, how? Like I read the panel. I read the comic book with that's in. He basically is in the Watchtower, and this robot blows up the Watchtower, and then he's falling from space, like from the moon, and he grabs like an air tank and is able to like use it for oxygen for part of it, and then the other time he like turns it around to like use it to propel him forward, and then like to also like slow him down so like the G forces don't like destroy his body. And then he also uses like his cape as like a covering so that like there is an explanation, but the explanation doesn't really hold up under
But
scrutiny.
the explanation is basically he has plot armor.
Yeah, it's freaking Batman with plot armor, which I would like to see, like a Batman that's just like, yo, I'm Batman. Like, that's just what I do. Because, like, too often I think we want to see, like, this gritty, realistic, like, oh, grungy Batman, which I love. I think, like we mentioned, the Batman is amazing. But if we have that, then at the same time, we shouldn't get campy or, like, you know, I love Adam West, but that belongs in its own time.
Right. Because, I mean,
but like a Batman
so.
that has his family, you know, that has his Bat family, is working with his son, that can be like, oh yeah, you know, like every other day I fight like Condiment King and, you know, Killer Croc and, you know, all these like very, very vivid villains.
Ones we haven't seen before too.
Yeah, like no, I don't want to see Condiment King unless he's a throwaway. No.
And like, we saw Polka Dot Man, it was good. So I mean,
yeah,
Condiment
like
King
James Gunn
funny.
can do good things with throwaway characters. I think it would be funny if like Damian is like learning how to be like, you know, Robin, and they're out on the streets, and Damian just has his like sword to Condiment King's throat and is like, I've captured one for you, father, and he's about to like slit his throat.
And Batman's like, whoa, chill, hold on.
Whoa. And then like they just like take his mayo and ketchup from him and then leave. And then like that's all they say. Like it's not even mentioned again. And it's just like a lesson that not everybody has to be taken down by like
he's like, bro, Damien, chill. This guy doesn't have to die. And Damien's like, but why? That's literally Damien's reaction when he first joins Batman too. Is like, we don't have to kill him. And Damien goes, but why? They're criminals. Like, and he goes, because that's like not the Jedi way. I mean, that's not the Batman way.
Yeah, it's not the Jedi way. But like. And like that goes into so yeah, that's just the Batman I want to see, where he works with his family. Hopefully we can get Alfred, a good Alfred again, you know, and a Gotham that like works with the family, which I think the Batman in Gotham is like a character in the Batman, which is another thing that I think does really, really good.
Yeah.
In the Batman, it's because like Gotham is a character, like it's
my
part
nose
of.
It looks like I'm picking my nose, dude. I'm like scratch my nose, but I'm like it looks like I'm picking my nose. I'm like,
yeah. So that's something that I look forward to in Batman Brave and the Bold. It's going to be based off the Batman and Robin comics, which that series starts with the Batman and Son, with Talia basically like attacking everybody with like a freaking Man-Bat ninja army. So it's pretty epic, yes. I would say so. It's a pretty good story. Batman and Son is a good one.
I'm excited. I think it's gonna be great.
Yeah. So there's a lot to look forward. You know,
there's a lot to look forward to with Batman. As there always is.
As Batman, as DC fan, things are kind of looking up a little bit. So, I mean, there's of course still the letdowns. I've been watching the last season of The Flash. Have not been impressed, but yeah, it's sad.
Oliver showed up. So, I mean,
I know that was one of the best episodes.
Spoilers: Oliver shows up.
Spoilers: it's in all the trailers and all the promo material for like the last 2 months.
So it's not really spoilers.
But spoilers. Yeah, the best, like the 5th to last episode in the entire season, and it's the best episode of the entire like Like, there were ones that were, like, okay. Like, the Red Death arc was okay, but it was, like, their Batwoman that was Red Death and just kept quoting, like, other Batmen. Like, that line doesn't even belong to you. Like, she was like, I'm vengeance, I am the night, you know, I'm Red Death, basically, what she said.
That line belongs to, like, let's just chill. That's not even your line, all right?
And then, in one scene, she was like, you want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
Whoa, like, okay.
That line does not belong to you.
All right, we're about to just have a throwdown here.
Yeah. And I'm like,
Michael Keaton shows up.
He's like, yeah, so it just wasn't executed very well. And then after that arc, they had, no joke, 3 episodes that Barry wasn't even in.
But he is the Flash, and the show is called
The show's called The Flash. But that's a whole nother discussion. If I get going on my Flash tangent, I'll be here forever.
To be honest, I haven't been impressed with the last few seasons of The Flash. Like, after Oliver died, I was kind of like...
Yeah.
I wasn't really... no offense to Grant Gustin. Great Flash.
He does amazing. He's just not been given the best scripts. He's
kind of like Hayden Christensen in Star Wars.
Yeah. No, for sure. All right. That's all we have time for today. Because we want to make sure we keep these as close together as possible. If you love this episode, you can go show your support over to us on Apple Podcasts. And next week, I will look over there. I stopped doing it every week because we didn't have any every time I checked. So I will check for the next episode, and we can mention if anybody has left a 5-star review. Keep your eye out on our episode next week. I think we're going to be discussing the Iron Man trilogy, unless, Brian, we want to change that for our Batman sequel ideas. We could also flip-flop that around. We'll let you guys know. And then, let's see, Guardians of the Galaxy comes out this Friday. So
in 2 weeks.
2 weeks, we'll talk about Guardians of the Galaxy and our spoiler review about the show. This podcast is available wherever you listen to podcasts. All right. Peace out.